ran into Tim Hutson. Tim's living on the streets. Tim's homeless, and he kind of told me his life story. Man, just kind of briefly tell me how you got to where you're homeless right now.
2017, I had to go to prison for making a mistake of using drugs after 12 years. My mom passed away 23 days after I got there. My sister committed suicide 9 days after my mother passed away. After I got out of prison, went to a halfway house, got a job, and then the job laid us off after I got released from the halfway house. So I became homeless in downtown Jackson for almost 2 years. I got real depressed about my sister because of the suicide. I was hurt that she had done that, and our family was really close. Me and my sister and my mom and my dad, my brother. But I got on drugs, and after getting shot in 2019, accidentally, I stopped doing the drugs and started to see things in a different light. Still didn't get me out of the homelessness. I'd go to bigger cities, bigger towns. I would try to, I'd get a little spot, do well, and it would kind of fade out, and it would put me kind of right back in that same situation. Here in the last, I guess, 3 to 5 months, I've suffered a little bit of anxiety, maybe a little bit of depression, because I don't want to be homeless no more. I'm 53 years old, I have arthritis. I like to be able to say that I can go in and lock the door and go to sleep in my own bed, feed my own dog, feed myself, get a job, and I'm addicted to work. So any kind of work, I'm game with it. I'll do anything from shoveling to air conditioning work, to painting, to crawling them, in a mud hole. We can shoot marbles if you want to. It's just I love to work. It probably looks like, sometimes people see me, they think I'm kind of, maybe a little crazy, but sleeping out on the streets, you see a lot of things, and you tend to catch a little bit of a mental state that you really don't like to share with people, because it's sad. If you're going to share with anything, you share the good things that you know about, what you've seen, what you've heard, maybe where you've been. But I've been struggling really hard here in Tupelo, because when I got here, I just felt the presence of this maybe home, and I would like to be able to find a job so I can get a hotel room, so I can start saving some money, and I can eventually get my own place, get me a truck or a car. It could be a 1968 get out and push, as long as it's mine.
How hard is that? People think it's easy to get out. People say, well, just go find a job. How difficult?
Well, the thing about that is, let's say you hire me today, and you drop me off. You say, all right, Tim, I'm gonna pick you up right here in the morning, okay? Well, what if the police department comes in that night and runs everybody off and takes you all the way across town, and you can't get back over here? If you don't have a place to shower, you don't want to smell like Moby Dick hadn't had a bath since he was a minute, you would like to be able to shower. You could probably struggle through that for about a week, but eventually, working all day and then sleeping on this hard concrete, it gets pretty rough. You sleep deprivation, hunger sets in. I've been 7 or 8 days without eating before, and that's not by choice. That's just because that's just the way it happened. And when the cold sets in, and you're trying to stay warm all night, and so you can get some sleep, so you can work. Your hands get hurting, your feet are hurting. A lot of people, they say things, towards you or about you or to you, it's ugly. But if you're grown and an adult, you just overlook that. That's just stupidity, which I don't blame them, because see, there's a lot of homeless people that have caused these people to be this way. The mayor, if he's mad at the homeless situation, that's not because of the homeless people. The homelessness, it's because of what the homeless people have done, the way they have treated their homelessness. Standing in front of stores, begging people for change, dropping needles. That's not just the homeless, needles, and using the restroom on the sidewalks, digging through dumpsters and leaving the trash out from around those businesses. People don't want to see a bunch of homeless people sitting in front of a business. That's a business that's trying to create revenue through the city and through that business owner. It's not a good image, and I understand that.
Without going into details about where you may be finding food, because some restaurants will shut that down. How do you eat? I mean, how do you survive on that?
Sometimes you can get a lot of like sweets. Somebody will buy you a honey bun or candy bar and a Coke, but you don't really get a whole lot of meat, potatoes, and things like that. But when you do, you usually find it in a trash can, in a dumpster. After a business is shut down for the night, you can usually go in and find the bags that are cold because they've been inside the business, and you can tell that they've been inside that business. You just tear them open. I know it sounds bad, but if you're hungry and you need to survive, you need the nourishment, you'll do just about what you need to do.
It's about to get winter. How do you prepare? You said somebody has bought you a coat and some boots, but how do you prepare, and where do you sleep and get away from the cold?
There's really nowhere to get away from the cold. You can find a little spot to kind of maybe break some of that wind, but what if it starts to rain? It's 70 degrees right now, and it starts to rain at 5:30 this afternoon, and by the time it gets to be 9 o'clock at night, it's done got 40 degrees, and 40 degrees from 9 o'clock all the way to 7:30 the next morning when the sun comes up. That's pretty rough, and you're soaking wet. Yeah, it's hard. Each winter's different. It's hard because you can only tote so many of these pounds of this backpack. You can only put so much in there. Once these blankets get wet, they're no good. Once your shoes get wet and your feet get wet, you're no good. Thank God Tupelo has a lot of sidewalks, and you can avoid some of that. But you're not going to always avoid it when you're homeless. You don't have slicker suits. You can't tote a suitcase with you to looking for a job. You can only take a poncho, and you can only stay as dry as you possibly can.
Last thing, people misunderstand homeless people's situations. What if you could say one thing to people about what it's like? What would you tell people about the life you live?
It's hard, and I caused this on myself. It wasn't something that just happened to me. I could have done better. I could have worked harder to do better. It was just those two deaths of my mother and my sister, and it was a poor, pitiful me, and drugs was involved in it. But not all homeless people are out here wanting to be out here. A lot of us are trying really hard to get out of this, and I do understand, and we do understand how people feel. And they feel, some people look at us and they see us and they go, ooh, and they'll kind of hurry up to get in the store, and I can understand that. We do look a little bad. We probably do smell a little bad, and we probably are a little rough with each other. But we do apologize if we do scare anybody or if we frighten anybody. Just know though that not all of us do the same things that all of us do.
Tim, wish you the best, man.
Thank you.